What's your emergency?
Stoneman Douglas High School.
Oh, okay, all right. What's the address, ma'am?
Pine Island Road.
Pine Island Road. Well, what school is it?
Jazeera.
Okay, is anybody injured?
Yes, a lot of blood. Please help, please.
The bullet went through the door?
Yes, I have a student down.
You have a student down in your classroom?
He's twitching, there's blood all over. 1216, please.
Room 1216, I have someone shot. I think you're started.
Three people shot.
3 people shot.
I know it's scary, but just try to get them all to just stay quiet. Just because I know he's still in the building, okay?
Oh my God. What do I do?
Yo, it's like an actual thing, like, there's a code red going on. Everybody's moving.
I'm right here, Scott.
People are moving,
There was a point in that room where I was hiding with my friends that I told myself, if I don't make it out, then I have to say all I have to say in this video.
An unbelievably catastrophic day in Broward County history. It's devastating. There are folks that have lost their lives. I don't know the number right now. It's a fluid scene right now. We have multiple SWAT teams clearing all the buildings.
I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. We're out. All I'm here to say is that us Douglas students, we stand together and we're united as one voice for this cause. You know, we're here as family, we're here as friends.
If you do not stand with us by saying we need to pass common sense gun legislation, you have chosen death. And none of the millions of people marching in this country today will stop until they see those against us out of office, because we choose life.
Since the time that I came out here, it has been 6 minutes and 20 seconds. The shooter has ceased shooting and will soon abandon his rifle, blend in with the students as they escape, and walk free for an hour before arrest. Fight for your lives before it's someone else's job.
When I went in freshman year, I didn't know many people, I didn't have many friends. And it wasn't until the last day of freshman year that I felt at home, that I felt like I actually had friends. And mainly it was because I picked up my camera and I brought it to school and I decided to make a vlog that day.
Yo, what's good, YouTube? Today we're gonna be doing a Q&A. I asked you guys to ask me questions and let me restart.
Now I realized that my camera was my comfort zone. It was the place for me to lay all my worries and preoccupations and just let go of everything. That's when I realized that, to me, vlogging is a way of taking care of myself.
This past month, I saw a dead body. You know, I went to multiple funerals and I just had to learn like how to deal with that sadness. It's been rough. I don't like to show my emotions on camera, especially like I don't. It's been rough, but we Douglas students are getting through it. We're strong.
Because filmmaking has this power to just influence other people, I decided to create a video-based project called Stories Untold. So on Stories Untold, we post different videos, and we mainly cover people that have experienced gun violence. And we've had the opportunity to travel across the country and meet so many different people. This is Christy, she's a Columbine survivor. This is Omar Delgado. He was a first respondent at the Pulse shooting.
I was involved in one of the worst modern-day U.S. tragedies that occurred in Orlando, Florida, the Orlando Club Pulse massacre. What I witnessed was nothing but carnage, bodies laying on top of each other on the main dance floor.
A lot of us suffered trauma that we want to express, but we just don't have the outlet to go to.
If you had a teacher who was adept at firearms, they could very well end the attack very quickly. So we'll be doing the background checks, we'll be doing a lot of different things, but we'll certainly be looking at ideas like that.
We've got to make sure we have an increased law enforcement presence in all of our schools, every school. So my proposal would have a significant law presence in every school, and on top of that, as our schools that are larger would have a bigger law enforcement presence.
Back when I was in elementary school or middle school, I remember school was just school. It's a place where I could walk around, where I could feel at home, where I could just be me. I guess now school's starting to feel more like a prison. There's so many security guards, so many policemen.
The United States has been, at least for the last 50 or 60 years, a global power and a leading global power. So it has to have a particular kind of brand of conflict management, and this is it. It's militarized. But I'd never accept that argument about militarization as simply the reason to explain why Americans like guns so much. I think there's also a relationship to not ever having to explain oneself. I think that's a part of American culture. But it's also really a part of American identity, which is never to apologize.
She could walk, but she's lazy. All right, goofball. Love you too. Bye. I raised two girls and single dad, and I watched it with my own two eyes. Kids grow up too fast, you know. It's hard enough now with what's going on. In my opinion, Democrats have been out for our guns for many, many years, trying to do something about guns, but it's so in our DNA, and Americans, they can't get it out. It's impossible. It's like it's a stain. Not a bad stain, but it's like a stain that's never gonna go away. We're always going to have them.
What they do, having a gun on campus will help refute a bad guy with a gun.
That's right.
The superintendent says 2 teachers have already completed the training. By the end of the year, at least 5 or 6 teachers will be able to carry guns to school.
I want to serve the military. I want to be a medic in the military. So, like, instead of being in war, you know, you're helping anybody who's in war. So I want to be a medic in the military. I definitely want to serve my country. A fact.
Douglas is down the street from my school, and now we have one fire drill every month. Same with Code Red every month and Code Yellow every month. Once you go on Code Red, you turn off the lights, bring down the shade, and you go hide, like, to where, like, if they look in the window, they can't see, like, one of the walls. But We had one on Code Red on Valentine's Day. And then I texted my sister saying, I'm on Code Red. And she's like, yeah, there's a shooting at Douglas. And that's when I told my friends, and they started freaking out because their siblings go there. It's very close, and they're very touchy when it comes to that subject of guns. Because I say, you know, I support them, but they have to be used the right way. You can't use them to threaten somebody with, or bring them to school to show your friends. You know, it's not a toy.
There's so many veterans that are coming back that, you know, that are guards. They become police officers. Give them a job. Just because if he was served our country and he had a part of his body blown off or shot off, amputated or something, he'd be a perfect candidate. Sit him in that school, inside there, in the gate, give him a gun, and he will stop a threat before it gets there. But also you have to pay attention to PTSD. You know?
After what they've gone through.
Jenna, that stuff covers a lot of areas.
Yeah, I know, but you have to pay attention to it too.
That's also police officers go through that then. Everybody. So there's ways to keep an eye on these people, I feel. And I'm sure if they let a police officer carry a firearm, they could let somebody go in there. And a lot of our police officers are ex-military.
After a traumatic event, we know that one thing that facilitates healthy coping is children feeling like they're safe. And so, you know, I think that the idea is well-meaning, but on the flip side, it may also inadvertently send a message that school actually isn't safe. I think for children who've experienced trauma, that could be a big trigger for them and be more stressful than is necessary.
I didn't know that I have PTSD until one of the fire drills. And this specific fire drill was, I think, the fourth one, and it happened while I was in the same classroom, same seat that I was in on February 14th, and it brought me back completely. Hearing my teacher's voice, having the friend that I was stuck with in the office right next to me, made me think, should I get up and walk right now, or what do I do? I was in shock. I started sweating cold, I started breathing heavy, and I couldn't control my nerves. That's when I realized you know, like, I'm not okay and I need to take care of myself too.
I have a lot of guns. More than I like to tell a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I tell them 40, sometimes I tell them 60. I don't let them know exactly how many I got. I could have 120. But I let them know that I have a good amount. I enjoy bringing my neighbors' children, my neighbors' wives and husbands out to the range so they can see and get more comfortable with firearms. I have a 17-year-old little girl. Since she was about 7 years old, I would take her to the range, and we've been learning about guns since she was 7. I've progressed her from small bullets up. Now she has her own AR-15, she has her own 2 shotguns, she has her own pistols, 22s. This is what she enjoys. These are guns that are in the safe, so we can have fun, we can enjoy it.
Guns are very important in the United States. They're central to how Americans think about conflict. It's the way they think about mediating conflict in their popular culture, in their everyday life, in their respect for authority. They are like what we might call fetish objects. They're something that people find attractive as a way to substitute for actually trying to deal with conflict in more interpersonal ways.
Guns are important to me because I want to be able to protect myself, protect my family, everybody that I love. That's my God-given right. It's written down. It's, you know, these are my rights, and I want to be able to use them. This is my AR-15. I put the Batman sign on it, and pink and purple because I like pink and purple. It's my favorite gun to shoot because, like, I just love how smooth it shoots. I really don't like a big recoil on my gun, so the fact that the barrel's so long makes the recoil a little bit smoother for me to shoot, and it's fun.
Kyla, go in that top drawer, and I need large primers.
I think my dad is a very educated man. I do support, like, the values and everything that he says. I appreciate the truth, and that's what he gives me, raw and uncut.
Spent, new. Powder in there. It's a bullet. I made these bullets. Now the bullet is made. Primer, bullet, shell, powder inside, ready to go. Starts off like this, ends up like this.
Like a few weeks ago, we had like a lockdown in my school, and we didn't know what was going on. We're stuck in a closet for like an hour and a half. I texted my dad. I was like, look, we're on a code red. I don't know what's happening. And you know, from that point, all you can do is really like hide in a corner.
I get a text from my daughter. There's a lockdown in the school. They're saying that somebody's running around shooting. I want to go run to my car, come to my house, grab my rifles, grab my ammo, grab my vest, grab my helmet, and go hit the school. I may not be running around the campus with a gun, but I want to throw guns to the teachers and say, go get my kid, get her out. Or shit, I'm coming with you, I'll cover you, let's go.
There was a discussion going around couple months right after the Stoneman Douglas shooting happened that teachers should be able to be armed. And that idea I like the idea personally, but there's a lot of teachers, like I said, that have these democratic mindsets. They're like, no, I don't want to have a gun. And then these kids are like, the teachers could shoot us. And it's like, that is such an idiotic mindset.
I think the reality of gun violence and the reality of these high security schools is something that poorer kids in more violent communities have been living with for a long time. And it's now that it's heading out into other neighborhoods that we're starting to talk about it more, but it's something that's been a reality for lots of our kids for quite some time.
Miami Gardens, as some people refer to it, Murder Gardens. It's a beautiful area, as you can see, like a lot of trees, it's a lot of shootings. So a friend died, a few family members been affected, and it just continues, just not for myself, but continues as all people. Gun violence continues to happen without no intentions.
I used to be outside almost every day. If I didn't have homework, just go outside, because everybody wanted to play football or basketball, wanted to do something outside. A lot of younger kids rarely go outside unless it's the weekend, because possibly the weekends are pretty much a little safer, I guess.
Who here has experienced any violence or police brutality, or have somebody in your family that has been or you have been a victim of violence in your family?
My cousin got shot in the head, random drive-by, just gun shooting, and I think there's a bullet still lodged in his head, but he's doing fine now. But a couple years ago, it was really like a traumatic experience for him. So
how do you guys, now what she said was a drive-by, do you think that he was the intended target?
No, he wasn't the intended target. He was playing basketball at the park. It was just a random like spray shooting. But.
So now let's talk about that. If your best friend had a gun and y'all was walking down the street, you know, I'm finna bust her in the head with this gun. So let's say you have Jeremiah and Javon Would you feel more comfortable trying to convince Javon not to use a gun?
Like, for example, I would try to convince Javon more than convince that other person because I could lose my life, and I don't want nobody to lose their life.
How do you feel about being outside? How do you feel about going to the parks? Tell me a little bit of your views and how you feel about just being in the community.
I don't usually think twice because mostly in parks you feel like you're gonna be safe, like no one's gonna do anything, but you always have to be aware of your surroundings.
Absolutely. So you don't let what's going on stop you from living your best life, huh? Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? How you feel? Esther?
I feel the opposite way. Like I don't really go outside anymore because I know there's bad stuff going around. So I just stay inside where it's safe.
Okay, I understand that too. Anybody else?
Thank you. Hello. In my neighborhood and the people I hang around with mostly, they always try to make money positively. But if something goes wrong or happens, they could fall off the wrong track, get into drugs. Because drugs in America, you can sell that at a lot. You can sell drugs easily. Inner city schools, we don't worry about what's going to happen inside because mostly what happens inside is maybe a fight. But outside of the school, that's what we look to as of, oh, okay, now I got to survive outside of school. Right now, this is my starting point. And so in the future, this is going to help me because it's something I want to do, entrepreneurship. So this is a stepping stone to anywhere. So younger kids, we got NAACP. I try to be role models to them so they could be role models as they get older to meet other people so that no more of us as young people have to go get shot or have to go through this horrific trauma of being alone or being afraid to do what they want to do.
In Nico too. 10, 73, 9, and 70.
After the shooting, all of us students came together because we wanted change. But I think we all realized that politics are slower than we imagined, but we're trying to do as much as possible so our voices get heard in the Senate, in the Congress, and just in the government in general.
So guys, we're in Tallahassee, Florida at the moment at the House of Representatives Capitol building, and we are fighting for our voices to be heard because we don't want to see any other student get hurt by a bullet in their own school.
For a long time, I think that youth have not been able to affect change in the United States, and when and where they have tried, they have been thwarted by adult culture, by market-oriented culture. And I think until you see a transition of power between the generations, it will be very difficult for young people to affect much change.
So you guys know how Q&A goes. So y'all know how Q&A goes.
I've tried to be careful with what I say sometimes, and I know that there's a lot of people that probably won't like me and that are going to be haters. They point out that our shooting was as fake as the Sandy hoax and the only dead bodies you have seen. It's just a lot of stupid comments that I really personally don't pay attention to. There's comments here that are calling me out for being a crisis actor, and these are comments that I honestly don't pay attention to and could care less. They could express their opinion anywhere they want to. I am just going to keep on moving forward and posting my content because that's what matters and that's what brings me happiness. My life completely changed. I feel like I became an adult and that I realized what life was like, how cruel everything truly is, and that the intentions of some people are just beyond my imagination. I learned what it's like to lose 17 people. I learned what it's like to go to their funerals and just have that sadness that no one can take away. I learned what it's like to tell your mom I love you, what you thought what was going to be the last time. Despite the trauma that we lived on February 14, there are a lot of good things that came afterwards. And to this day, I say that the 17 angels that passed away that day are looking over us because they truly have blessed my life. and the lives of many others. And we are dedicating our day for them and to them because they are the reason why we are pushing forward and why we are motivated to keep on going.